Hey guys, what's up? So, I've decided to make some tutorials for Game Creator 2. I'll try to make different stuff from what RVR and Mike are already doing, but for these first videos, I'll try covering the basics. I know it's already covered on their videos, but as we'll be tackling some quite hard mechanics after all, I think it's important to have this on the channel so people can come back and learn basics once things start to get harder. Okay, let's start out. So, Game Creator 2 is a visual scripting tool. Let's take a look on what comes with this visual scripting. So we have actions, which are instruction lists. This is where you place your instructions, so what will be happening. So we can, for example, we can set an object active or inactive. We can change music volume. We could play sound effect. All of these goes on actions. We also have conditions, which works like if-else's. So when you add a branch is a if. So if a boolean value, if a game object is activated, then something happens. So each branch has a instruction list for what will happen if that if comes true. Once you left a branch with no condition on the if, it will be treated as an else. So if boolean object else, something happens. Okay, and for the visual scripting we also have triggers, which are events. So we have on start, we have on enable, we have on trigger enter tag. So when an object with a certain tag enters our collider, we have triggers for on change, for music volume, on jump, on land, lots of stuff. So triggers control these events, and they also have their own instruction lists. So on jump I could play a sound effect. There's no need of using actions all the time, but what you would do for using with actions would be to have a trigger. When something happens, run an action asset, which you can choose if you will wait to finish or not. This is very handy for your mechanics where more than one stuff will be working at the same time, so we could have different actions with wait or not wait to finish here. Okay, there's one more on the visual scripting, which is the hotspot. This one works with the interaction system of the character, which we will take a look later, so we can discuss this hotspot later also. Okay, I'm gonna delete this, and now we'll be taking a look on the character component. So right click it, game creator, characters. I'll create a player, but you can also create a character. The difference is that player comes checked as is player, because game creator has the player reference. So by example, you can see here player. So lots of instructions and conditions, triggers will be able to use this reference, and it comes by this checkbox. So on the player you can choose the time for the character, if it's going to be game time or unscaled time. You can also pick when the character is controllable or not, the input for the movement. Primary motion will cover most use cases, but you can have it specific as you want. There's also with mouse, so mouse position, delta. Then we have the motion, which holds the properties for the movement and for the character. So let's bring it closer. Okay, but we have speed, which is the speed that the character will move, the rotation, which is the speed that the character will rotate, the mass, the height, the radius. It's very important that the height is at least double the radius. So let's say we have a radius of 2, we would need a height of 4. This is important because it will become a capsule once it enters play mode. Okay, let's grab it back. We have grab it upwards and grab it downwards, and terminal velocity, which will work together with the gravity to make the character fall. So if you have like a terminal velocity of 0, the character kind of will be stopped in air. Okay, then we have acceleration, which is kind of self-explanatory, but it controls how fast the character accelerates and deaccelerates. Then we have the jump property, where you control if the character can jump, how many air jumps, the force of the jump, and the cooldown. We also have the dash that comes built in, so we can choose how many dashes in succession, if the character can dash in air, and the cooldown for this dash. And then we come for the interaction system. So the character has this radius. Objects to be interacted must be inside this radius, and if more than one object, the focus will be set on the object by this option. So we have near character, which will pick the nearest object. We have screen center, which will pick the object closest to screen center and closest to cursor, to the mouse. This recast one is a custom I have. Then we have the driver, where it controls how the character is controlled. But we have character controller, nav mesh agent, and ridge body, which is obsolete now. You can make your own drivers. It's very nice, but it's quite hard to work that, so kind of some advanced stuff. Okay, we also have the axonometry here that we can choose, like some isometric movement. We also have the axonometry here on the rotation, which we have the rotation tab here that you can choose how the character rotates. So it can follow some direction, it can rotate towards its pivot, or with some delay, so it only rotates after some delay, and it can also rotate towards targets, so if look at target or at pointer. Okay, we have the animation tab. Here you won't be changing much unless you want a different start state or reaction, but this drop 3D model is the real gem. So for changing the character, the model of the character, you just drop a 3D model here with a rig, a skeleton, and the character will change to your own character. We have the inverse kinematics tab, which have some options for inverse kinematics. They're most self-explanatory, but you can take a look better on each of them. We have the footsteps to assign the fits, and we have the footstep detector. It's with animation curves, which is obsolete now for the new fulcrum plane, which is quite easier to set up. It just uses this height to trigger when a footstep will play. and the footsteps material sounds asset, which holds the sounds that you play for each material. So the footsteps, the material sounds asset, that you can make different sounds for each texture. So a sound for when stepping on grass, on dirt, on water. This is where you will be making it. It can be done by coming on create, game creator, and material sounds. And material sounds, so you can make your own. It's important to look that the texture name must be main text in order for it to work. So important thing. Okay, back to the character. We have the ragdoll system. This one I have never used it, to be honest, so I won't be telling much, but you need to create your skeleton, your ragdoll, and assign it here. I guess it comes with a pre-made one, but I'm pretty sure it needs some setup to work. Okay, game creator also comes with a save and load system, so we have this remember component, which is the responsible for saving our data. So I have some modules installed here, and most modules will come with components to be saved. So we have traits for stats, we can save the bag, there's plenty of stuff. As you grab some modules, you can see these new remember components popping up here. You can also save if components are enabled, if object is active or not, but it's important to remember that objects will only be saved correctly if they are active when the scene is loaded. So if you want an object to be inactive, it will need to be inactivated after the scene starts if you need it to be saved. Okay, there are some learning on to use the remember component from game creator, but it's quite nice, it's very handy. There's plenty of stuff on game creator, to be fair, it's quite an awesome system, and you can also create lots of new stuff upon game creator. Marty made an awesome work with its structures, so it's very easy for you to make your own instructions, conditions, triggers, and even more stuff. Okay, one awesome part of game creator are the variables. So we have list variables, which are lists that can hold one type of value, and you can fill them with how many inputs you need. This is very useful for, like, let's make an action here. So for collect characters around the player, for maybe choosing a target, you can use this local list. There are plenty of instructions and conditions for lists. It's very nice for you to check them, because this will help you create lots of systems that you may want. Okay, we also have the name variables that can hold different types of values. So we can have a boolean, then we can have a game object. The modules also have some variables that you can use, so in a stat, we can also have a melee weapon here, so we can hold different types of values. We can also work some logics on them with instructions, conditions. It's all very nice, all very handy. These two are the local lists so they go on the scene, they are scene references. And we also have the global lists, which doesn't go on scene, and they are consistent between scenes. So everything you need to exist or to be tracked between scenes, it's much better to be done with global name variables, because local list and local name are objects inside a scene. But the same logic goes on, so name variables can hold different types of values together, so numbers, booleans, game objects, and the global list for the global list variables, as the local list can only hold one type of value and you can fill it. There are plenty of stuff to do with these lists and name variables. They are very nice. We will use them a lot on further mechanics that will be seen on tutorials. I guess that's it for this video, guys. Hope I didn't rush it too much or that I missed something. I tried to cover everything of the basics, the pretty basics, so you know all that comes with Game Creator 2. And from now we can start creating new mechanics on the next videos. Okay guys, see ya.